Do you know which movies you're gonna watch this Halloween? Here's our list. Hey YouTube, welcome to this week's episode of Popcorn and Movies. Today we're going to be talking about our top 10 movies to watch this Halloween. Let's get started with number 10. In number 10 we have Friday the 13th. This movie is about a summer camp in Crystal Lake where the camp counselors find themselves being stalked by a serial killer. This movie was released in 1980 and it's truly a classic. But did you know that Jason was supposed to be called Josh originally? I'm so glad that they changed it because Josh sounds like a high school quarterback and Jason sounds like the antisocial loner kid who would kill everybody in that team. Let's go to number 9. And in number 9, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street. This movie is about a creepy burn guy in a striped sweater who haunts teenagers in their dreams and kills them in reality. One of those teenagers happens to be Johnny Depp. This was his big break. Did you know that? And without this movie, there would be no Jack Sparrow and no Mad Hatter. Let's go on to number 8. And in number 8, we have Halloween. The story about Michael Myers, who after being locked away for 15 years, finally escapes and starts looking for his next victims the night before Halloween. But did you know that this classic movie was originally called The Babysitter Murders? All I'm gonna say is that I'm glad they changed it. Let's go on to the next one. And in number 7, we have The Grudge, the story of an American family making their life in Tokyo. But it's not long before the family realizes that their house is the site of a curse that kills anyone who comes near. This awesome movie was based on a Japanese film called Ju-on, The Grudge. Let's go on to the next one. And in number 6, we have The Ring, the story of a haunted videotape that after being watched, the viewer gets a call that predicts their deaths in the next 7 days. As awesome as this movie is, did you know that it was filmed in Washington State because the producers wanted an atmosphere of dread? I totally agree. Washington rains a lot and that made the movie so much better. Let's go on to number 5. For number 5, we have Psycho, the story of Norman Bates, who has an interest in taxidermy and a very difficult relationship with his mother. When a beautiful woman checks into the Bates Motel, he can't help but take a peek. This movie was so successful that it earned Hitchcock his final Oscar nomination, but sadly he did not win. Actually, Hitchcock never won an award for directing. How sad is that? Let's go on to number 4. And in number 4, we have The Shining. When Jack Torrance becomes the new caretaker of an isolated hotel in Colorado, he begins to discover the hotel's dark secrets and begins to turn into a homicidal maniac. Jack Nicholson, who plays Jack Torrance, improvised the iconic phrase, "Here's Johnny." In number 3, we have The Conjuring. When the parents' family notices a supernatural presence in their new home, they contact Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are paranormal investigators and demonologists. Together, they will all learn the horrible secrets of their new home. Did you know that even though the movie was released in 2013, it is now part of the top 10 highest grossing horror movies of all time? This was an awesome movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies. Let's go on to number 2. For number 2, we have The Blair Witch Project. This found footage type movie tells the story of 3 film students who go into the woods in search for the Blair Witch, who is an urban local legend. They go to the woods to look for her, but they find themselves lost and surrounded by strange noises that they can't explain. This movie was so convincing that audiences thought that the 3 actors were actually dead. A lot of their families actually received a lot of sympathy cards. Let's go on to our number 1. In number 1, we have The Exorcist, which is my favorite horror movie of all time. When young Reagan starts acting weird, like levitating and speaking in tongues, her mother looks for medical help, but is unsuccessful. A local priest, though, thinks that she may be in need of an expert exorcist. The making of this movie, though, proved very difficult when a fire destroyed their set. The only room that survived was Reagan's room, where most of the supernatural took place. And that was our top 10 movies to watch this Halloween. We want to know what your favorite movie to watch on Halloween is, because you're too old to go trick-or-treating and that's what adults do. We just stay home and watch movies and be sad because we can't eat candy anymore. We'd like to know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye!